What's up everyone, Shirley here. Welcome to the battle for Dazar'alor. Today we're going to be taking a look at the second boss, Grong, on Heroic. Why not the first boss, you might be asking? Well, that's because my recording got corrupted. But anyway, we're going to start off by charging in, of course, Warbreaker, Blade Storm after our MS. Now I was fortunate enough before the raid came out yesterday to get one of the new Azurite pieces, which is the helmet I'm wearing, has both Lord of War and Gathering Storm on it. So we're getting a nice strength buff on the Blade Storm after our initial Warbreaker. Now I was fortunate enough that the ad here spawns really close to the boss on our first set, which is great, because we don't have to move very far, I'm not losing much uptime at all, and I was able to cleave off my Warbreaker onto the boss there. Now, I was trying to sweeping strikes the ad and the boss at the same time. Fortunately, it was just out of range, so I couldn't do that there, but we did clip it with the Warbreaker. Now, if you notice here, we're splitting our melee into two groups, and being the left and right side of the monkey here, or gorilla, rather. Now, the left side, they should have moved back there, because we're doing this when he smashes somebody randomly. It will cleave, obviously, everybody around the target. Now, you have to be clumped up, otherwise you get feared in this fight, so we split on either side of him. That way, only half of our melee is taking damage off of this burst at a time, instead of the whole raid group. That being said, it's not really that dangerous, so it's not that big of a deal. Our next ad spawned in the back of the room here, which is a little unfortunate, but we had a lock gate to get to it. Now, I'm saving my Warbreaker here because I want the full 10-second uptime on the boss. Whether or not that's actually what I'll do in the long run remains to be seen, but it seems like a good idea at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and use that on Grong here. It does offset my Blade Storm timing slightly, but it's not too big of a deal because of anger management. We're going to go ahead and use the Tantrum Orb thing to trigger that. The boss, if you didn't know, works with his Rage Bar. He will throw a fit, and you can trigger ahead of time to start the AoE with the robot little orb that it drops. That way the damage is manageable going forward, which isn't so bad. We do cut it down to the wire a little bit, but it's not too bad. The next ad here, unfortunately, spawns all the way back there. We're going to go ahead and Heroic Leap charge that. Now, we interrupt our Heroic Leap with the charge to get that extra little bit of rage out of it, which is quite nice. Squeak in a few executes here, trying to interrupt that ad as much as we can. Coming back to the boss here. He doesn't do a whole lot. This is pretty much the patchwork fight of the raid, I would imagine. Drop down to 2% health there. I only used parry there. I probably should have rallied, but I wanted to save that for, you know, a raid leader actually calling for it. But that would have been a good time to do it, I imagine. I think I health stone there, too. I wasn't 100%. But I like the mechanic on this fight where he picks up one of the tanks and chucks it at somebody. It's pretty funny. But there's not much else to say on this fight. I was going to touch on that this fight is probably a lot better for Fury right now, as are most of the fights in the new raid. We're going to go ahead and try to sweeping strikes this ad, and he's out of range again, unfortunately. Didn't want to give up my executes, though, so I got in as many as I could there, and then swapped to the ad for the end. And there's the throw, but I bring up the Fury thing because Arms is considerably behind right now for single target. Hence why I was using the Lord of War and Gathering Storm traits on my helmet, because I wanted to supplement what Arms is good at, which is burst AoE, so you might as well get as much out of it as you can. And there goes Grong. Now, right there, 16.6k DPS. As of recording this video, that is rank 1 Arms Warrior damage right now, which is 3k below the rank 1 Fury parse, which is pretty big gap. So going forward, on progression and Mythic especially, I might have to switch over to Fury, dare I say. I know that all the Azurite gear and gear is going to change that across the board, but I fear that it's only going to make that gap bigger. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Peace.